committee to order at 12:08. The first order of business is roll call, please.
Commissioner Nelson?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Commissioner Jackson? You're muted. Commissioner Jackson?
Whoops, here.
Okay.
Here.
Powell?
Here.
Markham?
Here.
Angel?
Here.
Hoffman? Loops?
Here.
Leopold?
Thank you. Let's all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God.
God, with liberty and justice for all. Next is approval of the minutes from May 19, 2020. Need a motion to approve. Moved by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Roll call, please. Oh, what?
It's a voice vote. I was just going to ask if people are not speaking to mute, please. We're getting some interference over here.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
The minutes are approved. Next is of the agenda. Motion by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Gingell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. Next up is public comment. Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak?
There are currently no people on the public comment line.
All right, thank you. Public comment is closed. And our first item under before communications is an update from our health department in response to our governor's new order. Is this, Leanne, are you speaking to that?
Yes. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you some updates in addition to the orders, the case counts. So as of yesterday, we have 8,415 cases reported to us at the Health Division. The exciting part is we've had 6,768 that have recovered. And that definition is anyone that had a positive COVID test, so confirmed by a test, and is 30 days out from their first onset of symptoms. So that's exciting to see as more people are recovering, that number continues to go up. Fatalities, we have reported 986 to date. So we're still taking a lot of calls from Nurse on Call, which is good. So people still have a lot of questions, a lot of appointments. So still seeing a lot of demand at our drive-through. Our drive-through, we are operating 3 sites now. We are in the Pontiac campus, Pontiac Government Campus, our Southfield Health Division, and then we're also at the Novi Civic Center. And to date, and this is through yesterday, we have done 7,773 tests at the drive-through for a positivity rate a little under 5%. So we're seeing a lot of asymptomatic people coming through. So a lot of people wanting to get tested before they get back to work. So that's going very well. Our goal is a minimum of 250 a day, but we're seeing some, most of the time, close to at least 300, if not more. For senior living facilities, remember our initiative where we are working with local fire and EMS, Hatsala. We use medical students in the National Guard. To date, we have tested total facilities of 27. So that's skilled nursing and independent living. And we've tested 3,374 residents in there. Okay, with results back from 15 of those 27 that we've only had 55 positives. So those results and that testing initiative is going very well. We've also tested 2 homeless shelters, the residents there, and about 95 residents have been tested. So that's kind of our initiative going into those facilities with those individuals or groups, partners. So with the orders, as of yesterday, obviously the governor opened up all and we're calling it phase 4. And if you look at the Michigan Safe Start Plan, there's some things in phase 4 and phase 5 that have kind of opened up if you're looking at that. So order 2020-110 basically is called temporary restrictions on certain events, gatherings, and businesses. But just a little summary of that, effective immediately. You can have 10 people indoors that are not of the same family household. But for social gatherings, you can have up to 100. Starting June 4th, retailers can be open without an appointment. Effective June 8th, restaurants and bars can be open with 50 capacity. Swimming pools and camps for kids are also open June 8th, and that outdoor swimming pools only. Indoor swimming pools are still closed. They be at 50% of their bathing capacity. And so we will be working with pools to get them up and running prior to June 8th if they meet that criteria. Also, libraries, museums, outdoor drive-ins are able to be open. But still closed are your movie theaters, your cinemas, performance venues, gyms, fitness centers, indoor, obviously tanning, hair salons, nail salons, those are still closed. Casinos are still closed. Let's see. There's also 2 orders that are still active. It's 2020-108, which still restricts entry into healthcare, residential care, congregate care, and juvenile justice systems. And then a 2020-95, which it's protections of long-term care facilities. And in this really talks about protection for the residents in these facilities, employees. It talks about they still cancel all communal dining, internal group activities. And so those are the active kind of summary of the active ones. There are like safeguards for employees that really talk about daily screenings that are required as businesses open up. And depending on your sector, they may suggest you do additional screening and questionnaires. Everyone, whether you're really going outside the home, especially inside, should be wearing some kind of facial covering if they can be tolerated. So that's kind of a summary of the open orders at this time. With that, when the new order was issued with pools, Oakland County, as of June 8th, will be resending our pool closure order. And it will be reflective of the governor's order of the 50% public pools, outdoor only. There's been some questions on whether or not we can open indoor pools. Unfortunately, at this time, those are not open. That is the governor's order. Our orders can be more restrictive, but they can't be less restrictive. So the indoor pools continue to remain closed until the governor may change that order.
Leanna, are there any changes to the farmers market operations? Right now, farmers market are able to sell food, personal hygiene items, pet food, but no music and no activities.
You know what? I don't have that answer, so let me look into it, and I will get back to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commissioner Gingell?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Leanne for all the work she's doing. I know it's probably a nightmare, right? A never-ending battle. But on the indoor pools, if there's any way we as Oakland County could, urge the governor to consider something for competitive swimming with restrictions, if there's some reason that having an indoor pool open versus an outdoor pool open is creating more concerns. I know we've all been getting, or at least I've been getting a lot of emails about that and preventing people from training. So at a minimum, if we can at least have a voice there, I would appreciate it.
Yes, the competitive swim teams they have been very active this weekend, sending messages, I think, to everyone. And I know a lot of correspondence that I am copied on is also going to the governor's office as well. So that I think is occurring, but we can talk with our counterparts as well.
Thank
Can
you.
I add just one small point? Thank you, Madam Chair. The Michigan High School Athletic Association last weekend put out their list of what they thought were the most high risk to the lowest risk sports in terms of transmission of the disease. And competitive swimming was in their lowest risk category. And, maybe there's something that can be done to use outdoor pools for the next month or two and so on. But I do think talking to the Michigan High School Athletic Association is in order here.
And you bring up a good point, because there's one thing I probably want to add to that, because a lot of people are not familiar with this. Outdoor fitness classes are allowed now, which includes athletic practices, training sessions, and even games, as long as they can maintain the 6-foot distance. So that was specifically spelled out in this new order. But again, they're specifically saying outdoor, and that's their rule right now. And even the USA Swimming group, association, we looked at their plan, and they have really put together a very comprehensive plan for their competitive swimmers moving forward. So they have a great, we really looked at it before and after issuing the order, and they've really thought about everything that they can. So hopefully when that is opened indoors, they have a great plan in place to get those competitive swimmers back inside. Yep.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Any
she
other
did
questions?
it might open up in the next phase. Sorry.
Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. I always enjoy hearing the updates in the news. All right, Under Sheriff McCabe, do you have an update for us, or are you going to include it later in the meeting?
I can do it now. Just give you a brief overview of what's going on out there, given what's going on in the world today with everything after the Minnesota shooting. So last night, we, along with Homeland Security, expanded the activation of the EOC. It was open till about midnight. We currently have additional people in there, including the sheriff's office being reassigned there, staff there. And the FBI has put somebody in there, and Troy PD has also put somebody in there. So we can keep an eye on social media, what's trying to run down a lot of postings saying that this, that, or the other thing's going to happen. And a lot of it is just talk and chatter. But one of our problems is discerning what's real and what isn't real. The good news is we've had several very peaceful, I don't want to call them protests, peaceful marches. I think we've Oak Park, Farmington Hills, Troy. I saw the Troy one on TV last night. We did assist the Troy Police Department down there with our aviation unit. We also assisted Farmington Hills with our aviation unit. Both marches were very peaceful and no problems. There was a problem you may have heard at the end of the Troy march where some person was not happy that they had to wait for them to go by, and he nudged one of the protesters on the way back from City Hall. Troy made an arrest on that. They asked for assistance just in case things went south. They did not, which was good. And us and several other agencies surrounding Troy did respond to assist if needed. We're continuing our community outreach. The sheriff is, and the sheriff's office is. Like I said, Oakland County so far have been very, very peaceful. We have not experienced anything some of the other metropolitan areas have. The sheriff did go to a rally on Sunday at Pontiac City Hall, put on by one of the pastors there. County Executive Coulter was there. Angela Powell was there. I believe Brenda Carter was there, and several other elected officials. That went very well. It was very peaceful. Lasted a couple hours. We also, I sent you a copy of the sheriff's statement that we sent out several days ago. You should all have that in your email box. There is another rally planned by Pastor Peyton again on Sunday at the steps of City Hall in Pontiac that we'll be prepared for. But so far, so good. I think Oakland County has been a real good example to the rest of the metropolitan areas where we haven't had any problems or issues, and everybody is expressing themselves, but doing so in a peaceful manner. And if anybody has any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for Under Sheriff McCabe? Oh, Commissioner Jackson? You're on mute. Commissioner Jackson, you're on mute. I see your hand up for a question.
Hello, Chairman Lubes. Thank you. It wasn't, the mute button wasn't working for me. How are you today, Under Sheriff McCabe? I just wanted to ask you, were you aware of the police chief in Southfield implementing a new policy
Yes.
about intervening in situations like this? Okay, so we have a large county, as you're very aware, and
Yes, ma'am, and we get along great with the new
Okay,
Southfield
yeah.
chief. Knew him when he was at Detroit. Sheriff knows him very well. And the things that he's talking about, I just tell you, we've been doing those for many years at the sheriff's office in terms of in-service training and other things. So I know being the new chief there, he's implementing a lot of things that maybe weren't in place with the prior administration, but it's good to see what he's doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner Powell? You're on
I
mute.
can't hear him.
I may have missed it, but McCabe, did you give an update as far as how the one went in Troy?
I couldn't.
Yes, ma'am, I did, but I'll repeat it real quick. It went very peaceful. The Troy police did an excellent job escorting the marchers from Somerset Mall down to City Hall and the police department. It was very peaceful. At the very end, unfortunately, when the march was over and they were going back to the Somerset Mall, some man edged out and bumped one of the marchers. Troy police acted immediately, arrested that person. They did request assistance in case anything went south, which it did not. We sent a lot of patrol cars down there to stand by, as did other agencies. We also had our aviation unit there for the entire event, and things ended peacefully, and there were no other problems.
Okay, and then I do want to just say again on record, I thank the sheriff department for all of the assistance and insight and guidance with the one we had on Sunday in Pontiac. Thank you all. We had a good one. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your support. And I don't know if you heard, Reverend Peyton is planning another one this Sunday, and so we'll be prepared for that one also. He's
Yeah, we having conversations about that.
okay. Thank you very much.
We're not trying to keep having these things, but
I know.
work on that.
I understand. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Under communications, we need a motion to approve communications items C through G. Moved by Commissioner Gingell, seconded by Commissioner Nelson.
I
All
can't
in
take it off.
Say aye.
Hi, Bob Hoffman's here.
Hi, Bob.
Hello.
Opposed? All right, the communications is approved. We move on to our regular agenda. I need a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Nelson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I was hoping to just speak very briefly on Communication H of the most updated packet.
Yes,
What is the most updated?
it's your
Does
letter
everybody,
dated 8th.
yeah, so does everybody have the most updated packet that actually has communications A through H? Nope.
You have to refresh the board agenda then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Madam Chair, there was an incorrect date on there. It should be May 8th, not June 2nd.
The updated version does have May 8th on it now.
Excellent. Thank you. Madam Chair, should I wait for everybody to be able to access that before speaking upon it?
But do you want to read the letter?
Sure, I can definitely read the letter. Just as a little background information, in light of Governor Whitmer's moving our state into phase 4 of Michigan's Safe Start plan, starting on Monday, June 8th, which incorporates our bars and restaurants offering dining and services, I thought this was a great opportunity to provide the committee with an update on miscellaneous resolution 233, especially when food handling and sanitary conditions can mean the difference right now between life and death. Just to kind of give a brief summary, back in February of 2020, the board adopted a resolution of requiring food inspection reports to be posted on a searchable online database. The letter that I will read is in regards to, despite adopting the resolution in February, the date of enactment has passed. I was contacted by the IT department back in early May, requesting that I authorize a delay in this policy. And while I do not personally support repeal, I also recognize that it is not within my authority to waive or delay the enactment of Oakland County policies. So the letter that I will read was sent to our executive, Dave Coulter, as well as our caucus chair. And I am so sorry, I am pulling up. You know what? I'll read it on this. So the letter sent on May 8th says, Dear Executive Coulter and Chairman Woodward, I am writing to bring an important issue to you regarding the enactment of Oakland County policy. The Board of Commissioners adopted miscellaneous resolution 233 on February 6th, 2020. In part, the resolution states, be it further resolved that the policy requiring posting restaurant food and safety inspection reports shall be effective 90 days following the adoption by the Board of Commissioners and approval of the county executive. Last week, which was the week of May 8th, I was contacted by Tammy Shepard from the Department of Information Technology. She informed me that no progress had been made on the project, and she further requested that I agree to put this project on hold due to COVID-19 priority projects. I responded to Ms. Shepard that I do not have the authority to waive or delay the enactment of Oakland County policies. The 90-day period has now, or very soon, at that point now it has passed, lapsed, and the posting requirement for restaurant inspections is not optional. I am very appreciative of the amazing work being done by our incredible staff at the Health Department and Information Technology departments. I am entirely sympathetic to the challenges of dedicating internal resources to the project at this critical time. Fortunately, a quick search of how our health agencies operate will demonstrate that there is a wide selection of off-the-shelf products and services available. At a time when food handling and sanitary conditions can mean the difference between life and death, don't we owe it to the public to give them easily accessible, searchable data to make informed decisions for themselves and their families? Our COVID dashboard was a great success that was up in record time. The public is hungry for more information, and let's be transparent and provide it. I'm referring this matter to you I do not support the repeal and believe it is reasonable to bid this project to an outside vendor for implementation within 30 days.
Very nicely written. So is it in our purview to direct administration to request a report by our next board meeting, which will be in 2 days?
Is there anyone on the call from staff that could help answer that?
Well, you could certainly make that request. You could, make a motion to make that request.
Okay, I'll make a motion to request that it come before the board in a report.
We have a motion by Commissioner Nelson, support by Commissioner Miller. This is a roll call vote.
Did you have a date? I'm sorry. Probably to the record. I think we would.
A report from administration at our next board meeting, June 4th.
Okay.
It can be a roll call or a voice vote, whichever you prefer.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Do I need a voice vote to receive and file this letter for item H? All right,
Yes.
motion to receive and file, moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Commissioner Jackson, do you have a comment? I saw your hand up. I don't know if okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for that opportunity.
Oh, thank you. And it's good to have follow through, and that's what we need to do is follow through on what we said. All right, the next item is the regular agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the regular agenda to move forward with that? We did. So we need, our first item on the agenda is from our election division, the election services agreement for municipal absentee voter ballot counting. So I need a motion for that.
Moved by Hoffman.
Moved by Commissioner Hoffman, seconded by Commissioner Markham, and welcome Joe Rozelle.
Thank you. I know Lisa Brown, our county clerk, is here as well.
I'm here
Yeah.
too. I'm here too. And I want to thank you, Madam Chair, for taking up this resolution. I guess before I start, I want to give you, in case I use this term and you don't know what it is, AVCB stands for Absentee Voter Counting Board. That is where most of our municipalities count their absentee ballots. We still have some municipalities who have been taking them to the precinct, but AVCB is their, they're sequestered while they count those. So I just wanted to, in case I use that and anybody's wondering, I know I don't like when people use acronyms and I have no idea what they're saying. So you may remember recently the full board did pass a resolution in support of House Bill 5141, which allows for agreements between municipalities and for our interest in this and my office to manage absentee counting boards. And so with this resolution, we have a template agreement so that we are ready to go. I will tell you that Joe sent out an email May 7th just to take the temperature of our local clerks, of our city and township clerks, to see if they would possibly be interested in contracting with us for us to run their AVCBs. A majority responded positively, and I actually looked at the list, and every single commissioner, not just on this committee, but on the full board, has at least one clerk in your seat that responded that they are possibly interested. You know, some of them want more details, but they have already indicated an interest in this. At this point in our agreement, we wouldn't be charging municipalities for this. that could change down the line, especially depending upon how many we feel that we can take on. We may need more equipment. At this point, we're not asking for that, but that is in the resolution as well, that, depending on how this all goes. So we're trying to support our municipal clerks, especially during this time of COVID, and knowing that there's been an increase in absentee ballots, and we have some municipalities that have brand new clerks that are feeling overwhelmed and different situations. So I don't know if Joe, you want to add anything to that?
I would just say, just to be, so everyone understands, Madam Chair, that the locals will still issue the absentee ballots and receive the absentee ballots prior to Election Day. Nothing with that process will change at all. And then the statute, or soon to be statute, and the agreement contemplates us receiving those ballots at 4 p.m. on Monday or after 4 p.m. on Monday. And then we would begin processing on Election Day. Unless another law is enacted that allows us to begin processing a little early, that's still up in the air as to whether or not that'll become law. But that's how the process will work. So nothing will change as far as where they're issued or where they're returned, but the processing on Election Day would be done by the county.
Thank you. Any questions? I think it's a marvelous idea, and I know our cities, townships, villages will certainly appreciate that help. I can't imagine the work it's going to bring you, but thank you for doing that.
Well, it has to be mutually agreed. So the fact that, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do at this point, every municipality that has said they're interested. But again, as things progress, but we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. And so we'll start off slow and see how it goes and help those who need most, first and foremost.
Knowing that, then, how do you choose which cities to help? Is it first come, first serve?
No, there's different issues in different municipalities. Like I said, some have brand new clerks. One just found out that their clerk is leaving, so they're looking for a clerk. I mean, there's just different situations. Yeah, right. So that is one of them. So clerks who have never run an AV counting board before, they're at the top of the list as well. So
okay,
we have, Joe and I are, well, we always are talking, but we know we have our way of prioritizing.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Powell, do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to make a comment, just to let everybody know, actually, soft discussions about this process has been started with the city of Pontiac. And actually, our clerk and our council were elated on the offer. So I just want to say that, at least so everybody knows, Pontiac probably will be going with the county on this. I know we still got to finalize some things. And I just want to thank Joe Roselle and our clerk, Lisa Brown, for at least just even offering this to Pontiac because of the history of things that have come up in the past. And we're trying to change things for the positive and get things straight in the city of Pontiac. So thank you all so much for that.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Jackson?
You're muted.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to ask Clerk Brown, this is not a new process. This is something that's been established prior to this year. How many clerks take advantage of this, or this is a brand new process?
This is brand new. This is nothing that, no, this is new. So with House Bill 5141, with the hopeful passage of that, and it allows us to do this with certain guidelines. So yeah, and
this will commence with the primary election?
Yes.
In August? Okay, thank you.
And
I'm sorry, one more question. Do you think that it will delay the results coming in the election?
No,
Okay.
no.
That's good to hear.
yeah, again, like there's certain requirements that the clerk is gonna have to do, but I mean, I can tell you, in the March presidential primary at 2:00 in the morning, one of our local clerks told us that they were just about to start processing their absentee ballots at 2:00 in the morning. So no, it won't take longer to get the results. Well, we would already have done that during the day.
Thank you.
So I will say, like, some of our clerks, you know, they've been, you know, we also have same day voter registration now. So I think in March, a lot of them had more people than they expected to come in and register to vote that day. And it took them away from, you know, doing other things. And it's a lot to juggle. Or keeping up. And that was what had happened with that municipality that I just referenced, was that they weren't reading them in every day as the mail came in. There's things they're supposed to do, and they didn't do that. So they waited until election night or election day, and then didn't start counting them until 2:00 in the morning. So we will have everything before that, as Joe said, you know, on Monday, late afternoon, early evening, and then we'd be able to start first thing election day morning.
Thank you. Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have one question. Are you planning to try to implement this for the August primary or the November general?
For August primary.
Thank you.
So, and when will you do you send contracts out to the cities, village, townships you've identified as most in need?
Well, the first thing is, first of all, Joe gave till June 12th for them to respond to the email. So that day hasn't even come yet. And like I said, we already have like a majority of them that have responded. And some of them have responded and saying, no, they're not interested in all, and that's totally fine. And I do want to emphasize that this has to be mutually agreed upon. So it's not us taking over or us taking on more than we can feel that we can handle. You know, we haven't talked with anyone about the details of all of that yet, of what that would look like, and all the terms. So, you know, they may change their mind once they learn more about how the process will actually work. You know, that this is just, we just wanted to be ready to go with this resolution and with the template for the agreement.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
On item number 1, Commissioners Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell. Do we lose Commissioner Gingell?
Mm-hmm.
I'll come back. Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Lubes,
Yes.
Commissioner Gingell, are you there?
He did say he would have to go early.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yes.
I still see his name here, but, okay. Madam Chair, you have, let's see, 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, thank you. Our next item is the 2020 Law Enforcement Distribution Program Acceptance. And under Sheriff I need a motion for this item. Moved by Commissioner Jackson, seconded by Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is our semi-annual disbursement of training funds from the state of Michigan, MCOLS, Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. It's funded through, the majority of it is through traffic tickets statewide, which next year I can guarantee it's going to be a lot less because traffic tickets are down about 75% due to COVID-19. So we're asking for you to accept this so we can use it for training for our deputies on the road patrol.
Any questions?
If anybody's interested in the report there, you'll see the distribution to every police agency in the state of Michigan. So if Commissioner wants to see what their local police department gets versus the sheriff's office, they can see those amounts in the report that's attached.
Thank you. I have a, regarding this, regarding the, under communications, we had the Bulletproof grant program. Is that offered to cities also?
Yes, ma'am, it is. You have to specifically apply for it. If you don't, you're not eligible. But everybody's, several years ago, anybody, I think it was over 100,000 population, you couldn't apply, and then they've opened it back up again. So there were a couple of years there where we weren't eligible, but they've opened it back up again. And I think we ask for a lot, we get very little. Normally it's somewhere between, say, 15 and 20,000, 25,000 a year.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question.
Oh,
This is
Commissioner
Bob.
Hoffman? Yes.
Under Sheriff McCabe, when they distribute this money, is it based on population or the amount of tickets a municipality might have written?
No, it has nothing to do with the amount of tickets written by a particular municipality. It's based on the number of full-time equivalent certified or licensed police officers, full-time licensed police officers within each agency. And then there's if you look at the report or the attachment, it shows what the minimum distribution is if it's a very small department. And then the larger departments obviously get a little bit more. So the three largest are Detroit, Michigan State Police, us, and Wayne County Sheriff is also up there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
And item number 2, Commissioners Miller,
Yes.
Jackson, Commissioner Jackson, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Genjo, Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lubes,
Yes.
and Chair, you have 7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. The motion is carried. The next item also references the Sheriff's Department, the use of
We got so much stuff.
2007 MXT vehicles from the federal government. I need a motion for this item. Moved by Commissioner Powell, seconded by Commissioner Miller.
Madam Chair, thank you for everybody's knowledge. If you see on the camera there, along with Gaia, is Captain Larry Perry, who heads our Emergency Response and Preparedness Division, and he also oversees our SWAT team. And currently in our SWAT team, we have 6 other police agencies from Oakland County who have rolled into the Sheriff's SWAT team. And also in waiting now, which will be added shortly, are the Oak Park Public Safety Department, Beverly Hills Public Safety Department, and Farmington Hills Police Department. What we're asking for here today is the acceptance of these 2 vehicles that Captain Perry can go into some detail on if you like. One of them will be placed in the south end of the county for emergency response in the south end of the county. The 2 areas that we're looking at are either Madison Heights PD or Huntington Woods Department of Public Safety to house it in the south end. We've had very good success with the police chiefs and the various departments rolling into the county-wide. Basically the larger agencies still have SWAT teams. As you know, it's training intensive, and it's somewhat costly. So we're pleased to ask you to accept these 2 vehicles. One of them will replace a current Humvee that we have that will be returned to the federal government down the road. And both of these vehicles are very low mileage, almost like new. I think one has 6,000 miles on it, and one only has 14,000 miles on it. But again, I have Captain Perry here to go into more detail if you need.
Captain Perry, is there anything you'd like to add?
Just appreciate your consideration and allowing us to hopefully put these vehicles into the fleet to give us a response, critical response in the south end of the county.
Thank you.
If you'll recall, when we had the horrible incident in West Bloomfield Township where a police officer was killed, we had to evacuate many citizens from the surrounding areas. These vehicles will come in very handy for that very purpose if something unfortunately like that ever happens again. We can do it much quicker and much more efficient using these vehicles.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do I understand you correctly to say that we currently have 6 vehicles spread around the county and we want to pick up 2 more, but then return 1 to the feds, so that means we will have a net 7 vehicles around the county when all is said and done. Is that what you said?
Go ahead, Larry, you can answer that.
No, ma'am. What we're wanting to do is our vehicles are based out of our centralized location here in Pontiac, the Waterford area near the complex. What we're wanting to do is to be able to put one of these vehicles into the south end so that where we have officers that are already on the team to train them so that if there's a critical incident that we need to respond to, rather than wait a half hour or 45 minutes for the big armored big vehicles, the ballistic protection vehicles to get down there, that one of the guys that are on the SWAT team from the South End agencies can pick this vehicle up, get it on scene, and start dealing with the situation if we need to evacuate people until we can get the rest of the team there.
Okay. Of the 7 that we have, or the 6 that we currently have, how many times have these been deployed over, say, the last 3 years?
I can tell, I don't have an exact number. I can tell you multiple times. Whenever we do high-risk search warrants, these types of vehicles are used. We have barricaded gunmen they're used for. They come in very, very handy, I can tell you that.
Okay, well, I'll tell you where I'm going here. I am not of a mind that we need to continue to militarize our police departments. I support everything the sheriff's department and my local police department and many others around have done to emphasize de-escalation and many other policing methods that don't require military style weaponry. I can tell you the first time I saw military vehicle in the Novi City Parade about 15 years ago, it broke my heart because it said to me, this is not the America that I want to live in, where military hardware is what we're proud of on the, Memorial Day and 4th of July. And so I will not be supporting this resolution. I really want the sheriff's department and the police departments all across the county and state to take a serious look at our hardware and especially our military vehicles. And do we really need them? So like I said, I'll be voting no. Thanks very much for your time.
Hey, ma'am, I just in response to that, I can tell you, it's for the safety of all the police officers and of the public when we have a situation like occurred in West Bloomfield Township. So we are not militarized. That's all I can tell you. They may look military style, but they are used in life-threatening situations, ma'am. But I understand where you're coming from. If you're going to vote no, that's your prerogative.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say that, and not to go against what Commissioner Markham is saying, but I've talked to many of the deputies, and in the old city I used to live in, that just that vehicle being there that you're talking about, not saying it's used in a military way. Typically, the gunmen that I've heard of from different situations are like, all right, we're done. Because they just see it, right? It's just the image, and so nobody gets hurt. The deputies aren't trying to dismantle the situation and potentially get shot themselves, or innocent bystander, or a resident, going through a house or something. So I will be supporting this. I understand what Commissioner Markham is saying, but I just feel with this type of vehicle, it actually works, and it's almost a psychology way. Them seeing that, like, oh crap, they got that. What am I going to do, right? It's kind of just a mindset thing. So I will be supporting this. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Yes. I actually have a picture of one of the vehicles. It's like a big pickup truck. That's what these two vehicles are, with ballistic protection. Kind of look like the new Jeep pickup truck, but bigger.
Anything else? Roll call?
Item number 3, Commissioners Miller,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
No.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes. Thank you.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 1 nay.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Under Sheriff McCabe, I have a question. Do you ever take these vehicles out for Touch a Truck Day in various cities?
Yes, we have. We've had some requests, I know, up in Orion Township and other areas throughout the county where the kids want to come up and touch and feel and see what they are. So yes, ma'am, we do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item is transfer of ownership and release of claims agreement for canine dog Odin. I need a motion for this item. Moved by Commissioner Markham, seconded by Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Commissioners and Madam Chair. This is a transfer of ownership that, we've done many times in the past when a dog is at retirement age. That dog becomes part of the owner's family, lives with the family, is not only a police dog, but also is part of that family. In this particular instance, that deputy is no longer with us. The dog is near retirement age. It's not where we can transfer that dog to another handler. So for $1, we would sell this dog to that former deputy. And in full transparency, this particular deputy is Deputy Cadet, who was recently, unfortunately, involved in that tragic situation in Pontiac, where a young woman was shot. She's fully recovered. It was not an intentional act on his part, but we had to move to terminate him. Unfortunately, 20-year veteran, a very good officer, very good deputy, but again, the dog can't be transferred to anybody else, so we feel it's in the best interest to sell this dog to him for $1.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? And I agree about the dogs and the people they work with. Had an uncle who was in the canine unit, not in Oakland County, and the love of his life were his German Shepherds, and the dogs retired with him.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, we need a roll call, please.
On item number 4, Commissioners Jackson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller.
You're on mute, Commissioner Miller.
Muted, Commissioner Miller. Miller,
You're on mute, Commissioner
you're
Miller.
muted, Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Okay. And Commissioner Loops?
Yes.
Thank you.
7 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Under Sheriff McCabe. Hey, your day has been here with us. Lots of items to cover. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
right, the next item is from our Parks and Recreation, support of request to convert Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund assisted property at Independence Oaks County Park. Looking for a motion. Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Miller. Thank you. All right, welcome to Dan, Melissa, Paul, Jody. Happy to have you.
Okay, good afternoon, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to present on items 5 through 7 regarding the exchange and transfer and purchase of property at Independence Oaks. I'd like to take this opportunity to give public acknowledgement to the diligence, persistence, and professionalism of our staff, including Donna Folan, Carol Egbo, John Noyes, and Melissa Prouse from our planning and resource development staff. Also from Oakland County, Paul Zackhaus, the property manager, Jody Hall, Corporation Counsel, and I'll turn over the screen to Melissa Prouse, our supervisor of planning and resource development.
Thanks, Dan. Good afternoon, commissioners. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So as Dan mentioned, items 5, 6, and 7, I know that the committee needs to take them one at a time for approval, but they are all very intertwined. So this will just be a brief presentation that'll go over what they are, how they relate to each other, and then you can go through them one by one for approval. But I want to thank Dan for those thanks that he just gave. We are very, very excited about this project. We've been working on it for several years, and it has taken a lot of back and forth and a lot of good partnerships with good folks to get it to this point. So we're really excited to talk to you about it today. So the first item on the agenda is the conversion of grant-funded property. So, hold on, there we go. So just for commissioners that might not be familiar with what a conversion is essentially grant-funded property that is no longer available for public outdoor use for recreation. So we've either sold it, we've leased it, we've put a cell tower on it, we've somehow removed it from public use. So when we do that, it can be mitigated by essentially adding additional property to offset that loss. When we have an open conversion, it results in lower scores on grant applications because we're technically in violation of our grant agreements. So because of that, the commission and the board of commissioners have to acknowledge and approve the conversion and the mitigation. So that's the first item on the agenda. So just a little history, the property that is currently a conversion is what we call the Bailey House property at Independence Oaks North. So we acquired it back in 2009 when we acquired that property. It's located right on Sashabaw Road between our two park entrances. It was formerly a rental. The folks that we bought the property from used it as a rental. It was not in the best condition when we acquired it, and it's about 135 years old. And just one quick slide, a little more on the history. Again, it's named for the Bailey family. Robert and Melinda Bailey, those are the pictures that you see up there that our historian pulled together for us. Carol Egbo, they came to the area from New York in 1835, and they held the original U.S. land grant for that property back in 1856. So that area became known as the Bailey Lake Settlement. You'll see the name Bailey kind of throughout that Clarkston Independence Township area. The house itself is a really good example of a T-plan style farmhouse, and you can see from some of the pictures that both the exterior and the interior have a lot of the architectural integrity still in place, which is very rare for a house that's that old. So because of that, we worked really hard to try to find a way to find another opportunity for the Bailey House besides us just removing it from the property. We had no use for it. There's no use for it that we could put into place that would align with our grant agreement. So the DNR wants it to be removed from the property. So we put out an RFP for removal or deconstruction. We were hoping that somebody would either buy it from us for $1 and pick it up and move it to another site and restore it, or kind of worst case scenario, to deconstruct it, to take some of those neat architectural features and use them in another local home restoration project. So moving the house just wasn't an option. It was way too expensive. So what ended up happening is this group called Preservation Clarkston actually formed and became a nonprofit because of the Bailey House. It's a group of residents and businesses, and they work with Clarkston schools. And they came to our Parks Commission and proposed a plan that would save and restore the Bailey House. So essentially what they want to do is purchase the Bailey House from us, and I'll explain how they're going to do that. And then work with the Clarkston Schools construction trades program. You can see in some of the pictures out there at the bottom of the screen there, to learn the skills necessary to restore historic homes as part of their education with Clarkston Schools. So they've already had a couple groups of students out that helped us put a new roof on the Bailey House a couple years ago to mothball it, to kind of keep it safe and secure until we were ready for this transaction to take place. So this is the area that we're talking about. You can kind of see how Independence North and Independence Main connect kind of tip to tip there. So we'll focus in, and that's the area that we're looking at. So you can see up in the right corner, that yellow rectangle, that's where the Bailey House is located. So that is kind of that's the area that we were essentially is a conversion, an open conversion, because we're going to be selling that to Preservation Clarkston. So the way we're doing that is we've carved out this property, and in return, we're going to be selling that property to Preservation Clarkston. You can see down here where it says mitigation parcel 1. Preservation Clarkston currently owns that. So they're using that to purchase the Bailey House. And then simultaneously, the lower yellow triangle, which is owned by a man named Mr. Initsari, is donating that parcel in addition to Independence Oaks. So you can kind of see we'll lose the 0.73 acres for the Bailey House, but we will gain 3.4 acres that really help us make this critical natural resource connection between Independence Oaks and Independence Oaks North. You can see there that the stream channel of the Clinton River runs right through all these properties. So by kind of filling in the gap there between the two main park sites, it'll allow us much better access to steward those resources that are back there. So the 3 items that are on the agenda today are the approval of the conversion of the 0.73 acres at Independence Oaks. And again, that's our requirement for the DNR. The approval of the donation agreement from Mr. Initsari for that for the south parcel. And then approval of a purchase agreement with Preservation Clarkston, where they are purchasing the Bailey House from us in exchange for that other parcel that I showed on the map. So it's like I said, there's a lot of moving parts to this. It's taken us several years to pull it all together, but we think that this is the best way forward, and it meets everybody's needs. It keeps the historic home in the community. It lets the students learn some valuable skills, and we get additional property that we wanted for the park. So I'm going to close that out, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions regarding item 5? All right, roll call, please.
On item 5, Commissioners Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson? Nelson?
Yes.
Kokenderfer? I see you
Yes.
here.
Yep, I just joined, sorry.
Okay. Miller?
Yes.
Jackson? Jackson? Oh, I didn't hear you.
Yes, again.
Okay.
It's okay.
And Loops?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you. The motion is carried. And our next item from Parks and Rec is the purchase of 1.8 acres at Independence Oaks County Park from Preservation Clarkston. You need a motion?
Moved by Hoffman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Seconded by Commissioner Powell. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this item? All right, roll call, please.
On item 6, Commissioners Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Kokenderfer,
Yes.
Miller? Miller? Commissioner Miller, are you still there?
He disappeared.
Jackson?
Yes.
No, he's back.
Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, sorry, for some reason it paused here.
Okay, okay. Powell?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Loops?
Yes.
I'm sure you have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
All right, the motion is carried. Thank you. The next item, we're at item 7, right? The land parcel added to Independence Oaks County Park. I need a motion for that. Moved by Commissioner Kokendorfer, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the land donation? Roll call, please.
On item 7, Commissioners Nelson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gengel's absent. Hoffman,
Yes.
Loops,
Yes.
we have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
All right, that motion is carried. Our last item from Parks and Rec, recognizing July 2020 as National Park and Recreation Month. Need a motion for that item? Moved by Commissioner Nelson, seconded by Commissioner Jackson. Any comments about the recognizing July as Parks Month? Dan, do we do anything during July from the Parks and Recreation?
Well,
Ms. Ruff?
we've had a number of activities that unfortunately had been canceled, but we will, our recreation staff is working on a lot of virtual opportunities. So we will advise you as those continue to develop. And I just wanted to let the commission and the public know that the traditional county fair with the carnival, the entertainment, the general exhibits, and I know your favorite, the racing pigs, is postponed until next July, when they hopefully will have all of those wonderful things with the carnival, etc. But this year, it's going to be more of a virtual fair based upon the governor's directives, and there will be competitions for young exhibitors as well as animal auctions for small and large animals.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll miss it this year.
Yeah, it'll be July 10th through the 19th, but no public will be invited.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions or comments about this item? Roll call, please.
On item 8, Commissioner Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson, Commissioner Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
Thank you,
Motion
Commissioners.
carries. Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Our last item on our regular agenda is Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. The donation from MSU Federal Credit Union. Who would like to?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Hoffman, seconded by Commissioner Nelson. And who do we have on the phone?
It's Joni Toole from Animal Control.
Hi, Joni.
Mr. Gatz here as well, but I'll be presenting. So this afternoon, we are here to seek approval for a donation to the shelter from the Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. They have a branch in Clarkston, and every year they get together and their employees have this donation fund, and they have a board and everything, and they decide who they want to donate their money to, as well as their time. So this year they selected us along with 2 other organizations, and they donated over $11,000 to the shelter. So we're here seeking approval to accept that donation.
Very, very nice, and grateful they chose the Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. Any
Yeah.
comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Line item number 9, Commissioners Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas and 0 nays.
Motion
you.
carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other
Oh.
business to come before this committee? Commissioner Powell?
Oh, not before the committee. I just wanted to thank Hoffman for a birthday card he sent me. Thank you, Hoffman.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Anything else? All right, then I will adjourn